Hi, it's Darnell with Whale Oven Recipes, and this is my 30-day review of the Oster digital French door air fryer oven. And I want to say, basically, to start, be sure to see my initial review of this cooker. If you have not already seen the initial review, that's where test cooks are done, that's where measurements are done, that's where comparing it side by side for sizing with other cookers is done. A lot is done there, temperature testing, all types of things are done in the initial review. In this 30-day review, I basically talk about my experiences with the cooker, my thoughts, impressions, how I feel it might compare with other cookers, in my opinion. And so I do a lot of talking in this video, and the initial review is where I do a lot of the doing and demonstrating and things of that sort. And there are other cooks on the channel with this cooker as well. And there will, Lord willing, be some others coming down the line. But here we just do a discussion and review. And so I want to say that generally speaking, this cooker is really good. I really like this cooker. It's really good to use. I really enjoyed using it during the time that I was using it during this review period. And it's not perfect, but it does do a good job. And I feel that for the price of this cooker, it's a pretty good deal. So I really did like the cooker, generally speaking. And the cooker is gigantic. I don't think that you can get a larger air fryer oven than this one. This thing is huge. A lot of measurements done in the initial review if you're wondering about the specs as far as that's concerned. And overall, the cooker does a decent job cooking as far as like its evenness in cooking things. It does a decent job cooking overall for a large cooker. To do a pretty even job cooking is very, very good. Now it does have some drawbacks. There is basically at the end of a cook, it does a beep, and it beeps like every few seconds when it's done with the cook, and it doesn't stop beeping until you come and hit the cancel button. So it's not like you can cook something up, well, you could cook something up, be in another room or something, but you're gonna hear this annoying beep that never stops until you come and hit cancel. I wish that they did not have that beep going on forever like that. Most cookers, when they're done, they beep a few times and that's it, you know, and your food just sits in there until you come and get it. But with this cooker, it just beeps forever, which can be annoying. I mean, you could be in the middle of anything when a cook ends and you just don't want to hear that annoying beep forever until you run over to finally hit the cancel button. So, just something to keep in mind there. Now, one thing that's nice about the cooker is that if you hit cancel once during a cook, it goes into pause mode. So it doesn't have auto pause doors, but it does have a means to pause cooks. You just hit cancel while it's in the middle of a cook and it'll basically go into pause and then you hit start to start cooking again. That's nice. And another thing to know about, even though the cooker has preheats, if you want to skip a preheat, just hit the start button twice. If you hit start twice, it'll skip the preheat. So that's very nice that they give a really nice option, nice easy option to skip the preheats if you want to. Something else to know about this cooker is that it has a light that runs during the entire cook. It doesn't turn off. The light does turn off at the end of the cook, and there's no light button. So it's kind of interesting that the light stays on during the entire cook, and then once the cook's done and you want to go in and get your food out, the light turns off. So it's kind of funny. It helps you to see the food while it's cooking, but it doesn't help you much when you're trying to get your food out. So, interesting. And there's no light button, like I said, so you can't manually get a light on. Something that is a little interesting about this cooker is that periodically during cooks, I did hear like some odd popping noises, like maybe the metal is kind of shifting and settling and moving around a little bit as it gets hotter. So there's like, as it cooks, you might just hear like every now and then a pop, or you know, some strange pop sound as things are getting hot. And that's just something to keep in mind. Nothing ever, I guess, broke or anything of that sort, but it just makes a little bit of odd popping during cooks of just the metal. It seems to be shifting. The cooker does not remember settings. I think that's something I covered in my initial review, but it's one of those annoying things that sticks in your mind after you're using a cooker long term, it never remembers anything. You always have to go back to your settings that you prefer for whatever you're cooking. Let's see. The clock on the cooker is nice to have. It has a built-in clock, and so it's always nice to have a clock on the cooker. And the cooker, after a cook, it stays very warm inside. So even though it has a setting for that, you don't really have to rely on that if you're going to be coming to get your food within like 5 or 10 minutes after it's done. Things stay pretty warm in there. And even though the cooker is not very tightly sealed, I mean with its French doors and all, it doesn't have a very tight seal, but still, as I said, it keeps things warm, it cooks things pretty even overall, and it gets things cooked in a pretty decent amount of time for an air fryer oven. And as far as the overall hotness of this cooker compared to like, some cookers just tend to cook things a lot hotter and faster than others. But this cooker is probably, I'd say, a lower end for heat. It's not a very hot overall cooker. Things typically are going to take a little longer for some things to cook. Even though it's faster than a conventional oven, it's not as quick as some of the faster like Cuisinart type of cookers. It's not a very fast cooker overall. I didn't have any smoke issues with this cooker, so never had problems with smoke. It handles smoke well. And as far as adding time during cooks, it's able to do that very easily. It's interesting, adding time during cooks, it adds it in 30-second increments, but if you're adding time before a cook, it does it in 1-minute increments. So that's interesting. And the doors, I wanted to mention, these doors, and I've shown this, I believe, in the initial review, but they stay open and they don't, they don't come closed quick. I know like with the caloric French door air fryer oven, I had a real problem with that. So you just got to make sure that you give enough wingspan for those doors to open, and they'll stay open for you with no problem, from my experience. The user interface for this cooker is very easy to understand, very straightforward, simple, no issues there. The noise level for the cooker, I mean, there's basically no noise. I mean, there's no noise other than that occasional popping that I mentioned. It's super quiet. So that's very nice. I wanted to talk about the functions that I used and my experiences with those functions. The bake function, it works great, and with the full preheat, it cooks things in pretty decent time, so works very, very well for being a baker. It's a very good baker, and being a huge cooker, you want it to be able to bake things well, and so I've been able to cook like brownies and cookies and all types of baked goods, turn out really nice. The toast function is interesting because the toast function, it gives you a number. It's like, I think 1 through maybe 6 or 7 or something as far as number. So you go and you click on toast, and I showed this in my initial review. You click on toast and then there's a number. And you select the number, but it never gives you a time. Even after you click start, it never gives you a time for that number. It just shows the number, the entire toast. So I did some timing for some of the toast numbers just so you know. And it seems that with each number things increment, but it's not an even increment all the way through. And I did up to 5. I didn't go past 5. But 1 toast for about 3 minutes 30 seconds, 2 toasts for 4 minutes 30 seconds, 3 toasts for 5 minutes 30 seconds, then 4 is a little different. It toasts for 6 minutes 15 seconds, and 5 toasts for 8 minutes and about 10 seconds. And I didn't go beyond that because cooking the toast any further than that is going to really burn your bread up pretty good. So the top on toast cooks more than the bottom. So it's not an even toaster. The top cooks more. The broil function, I didn't use the broil function, so can't speak for that, but it seems like it'll be able to do that just fine. The roast function, I was very impressed with the roast function. Did a great job roasting with like cooking a whole chicken on roast. It's on par with the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven. Very nice crisp outside, very moist inside. So roast works very well on this cooker, and for it being a large cooker, you want it to be able to roast well, and it definitely it definitely meets expectations and needs for me as far as roasting. I didn't use the pizza function. The air fry function, I will say it's a weak air fryer. It does air fry though, it does get the job done, but it's a weaker end air fryer. The turbo convection function works well. It does cut the cooking time down when you use the turbo convection function. Dehydrate, I wanted to use dehydrate, but I couldn't. And the reason why I could not is because I wanted to dehydrate some blueberries, and those of you who have seen my other dehydration of blueberry videos know I usually dehydrate them for 24 hours. Well, on this cooker, dehydrate has a max of 6 hours. It's fixed at 150 degrees Fahrenheit and a max of 6 hours. That wasn't what I needed for dehydrating, but basically, if you want to dehydrate something, you're stuck at 150 and you can go 6 hours or below, and that's all you get for dehydrate. Slow cook, I didn't use. Keep warm, it works well for its purpose, and I went into some detail with keep warm in the initial review. Now for cleaning, it's very hassle-free cleaning. There's no hassle in cleaning. Things clean up pretty well. The inside, everyone knows I don't do any special stuff on the inside. I just use regular dish soap and water, and that's it. And everything you see inside there, super clean, no issues at all. The air fry rack, no issues with that. Bake pan, did get some stains sticking on the bake pan, so the bake pan is not very non-stick. So that's something to keep in mind there. If you want to line with something, that's up to you. Let's see, now I'm going to talk about comparison with other cookers, and I'm just going to name some that I'm going to talk about comparison with. I don't try and mention every single one. If I don't mention the one that you're interested in, please look through this channel. There's tens of reviews of different cookers here on this channel. There's not 100 yet, but we're going to get there. So there's a whole lot of reviews of different cookers, and so you can probably make up your own mind from other videos. So I want to first compare this to the Gourmet French door air fry oven. This one, the Oster, is bigger. I mean, way bigger. And it cooks better overall. It's just overall better cooker. So I definitely preferred the Oster to the Gourmet French door air fry oven. Compared to the Ninja Foodi dual heat air fry oven, it's pretty simple. If you're cooking small stuff, use the Ninja Foodi dual heat air fry oven. If you only cook small stuff, get that. If you need to cook big stuff bigger than the slimness of the Ninja Foodi dual heat air fry oven, this is the cooker for you, in my opinion. Now I'm going to compare to my current champ and long-running champ, the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven, and I'll say overall, for me it was a close call because I really did like using this Oster, and it's huge. So it was a close call. And basically the Ninja wins, and it wins mainly for the faster preheat. You do notice the difference in preheat between this and the Ninja is able to get things done in about the same amount of time with a much faster preheat. So the Ninja really does win because of that, in my opinion. That's the main thing. And so this cooker is huge. It works really nice. I'd say for the price, I think it's totally worth it. I don't think anybody that gets this cooker is going to be disappointed. For me, the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven is still the champ, but not by a large margin in comparison with this cooker. Like I said, I really did like it, so I don't discount this cooker at all. It's a nice cooker. And so that's basically all that I had for the review of this cooker, and I hope that you did enjoy it. And I wanted to mention that in the video description there are lots of ways to help the channel, such as my cookbook. A lot of the recipes in the cookbook are cross-compatible with different cookers. Even though I tell you the cooker I used for each cook in that cookbook, you can use those for lots of different air fryer oven and other types of cookers. There's recipes for all different types of cookers in there. There's also ways to give like donations. There's referral links for being able to buy cookers, and you pay the same price but help the channel through the link. And also, even if you're not buying a cooker or something, if you use that link as a jump off point for buying other things, it still helps the channel. Also, there's like memberships and merch as well. And so nothing in the video is sponsored. And so if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.